At 2 a.m., many people think they are alone with their phone. But spiritually, some doors are opening. I learned this during my years in darkness. Lust was never treated as harmless. It was seen as one of the fastest ways to weaken a person spiritually. And what I'm about to reveal today is something most people were never taught in church. Because sometimes the greatest spiritual attacks don't begin with fear. They begin with desire. What shocked me the most was this. Many people under spiritual attack were not involved in witchcraft at all. Some were worship leaders, some prayed every day, some genuinely loved God, but privately, they were fighting secret lust. And in darkness, secret lust was seen as an open gate. I remember hearing discussions about how certain habits slowly weaken people spiritually. Not overnight, but little by little. First, their prayer life became cold. Then confusion entered, then guilt, then strange oppression. And the dangerous part is, most people blamed stress, relationships, or bad luck. They never realized something spiritual was feeding on the door they kept reopening. But here is where it becomes even deeper. Because lust is not only about physical actions. Sometimes it begins with what you repeatedly entertain in your mind. And in the next section, I'm going to reveal the spiritual law that makes lust so dangerous, and why repeated exposure gives darkness influence over a person's life. Now here's where everything becomes practical, and where change actually begins. In the spiritual sense, repetition is agreement. What you repeatedly watch, think about, or return to emotionally doesn't stay casual. It slowly forms patterns in your mind and spirit. Over time, those patterns begin to influence your decisions, desires, and peace. This is why lust is dangerous. It rarely enters all at once. It grows through repetition. If you wait until temptation comes, you've already lost half the battle. Identify what triggers the pattern in your life. Remove immediate access, not just intention. Set boundaries your emotions can't negotiate later. What stays hidden does not stay small. Secret habits grow stronger because they are unchallenged. They create guilt, then silence, then distance from peace. Many people don't lose spirituality instantly, they drift from it. Light doesn't judge you, it heals what darkness is feeding on. Be honest with God in prayer. Stop pretending it's under control if it keeps repeating. Seek accountability where possible. Your environment is either feeding you or fighting you. No one stays the same in the same environment. What you consume daily shapes your spiritual strength. Music, visuals, conversations, and isolation patterns all matter. Replace what pulls you down with what builds you up. Change the routines that always lead you into temptation. Fill empty time with structure and purpose. God, help me break every cycle I've been repeating in secret. Give me strength to walk in purity, discipline, and self-control. Be honest, which of these areas is the hardest for you right now? Repetition, secrecy, or environment? Now listen carefully. Because this is where many people start to realize something deeper is going on in their lives. Not everything you experience is random. There are patterns that repeat in people's lives when certain doors have been opened spiritually. One of the most common signs is repeated sexual or disturbing dreams. Dreams where you feel chased, trapped, or involved in sexual situations that leave you feeling heavy or uncomfortable when you wake up. Sometimes it feels so real that it lingers in your mind for hours during the day. Over time, this can affect your peace, your focus, and even your prayer life. Another sign is a constant feeling of shame and distance from God, even when nothing major has happened externally. You try to pray, but your mind feels distracted. You try to move forward, but something feels like it's pulling you back into the same cycle of thoughts and habits. This is where many people begin to withdraw. Not because God left them, but because shame is speaking louder than truth. But hear this clearly. You are not meant to stay in that cycle. If you are experiencing these patterns, don't ignore them. Stop feeding the same triggers that lead you there. Be intentional about what you allow into your mind before sleep. And when you wake up from disturbing dreams, don't just move on. Reset your mind immediately. Pray, refocus, and refuse agreement with fear or guilt. Because what you consistently allow will eventually shape your experience. And the sooner you address it, the sooner the cycle begins to break. Now let's bring everything together. Lust is not just a struggle of the body, it is a cycle that feeds on repetition, secrecy, and the environment you allow to shape you. But once you begin to change what you repeat, what you hide, and what you expose yourself to, the cycle begins to lose its power. This is where real breakthrough starts. Not in perfection, but in awareness and consistent change. Many people think they are stuck, but in reality, they are only repeating patterns they have never broken. And the moment you stop repeating them, something begins to shift. Freedom is not just about what you stop doing, it is also about what you start building. A clearer mind, a disciplined life, a stronger spiritual focus. You are not powerless in this. You are capable of change, even if it has been a long battle. And step by step, things begin to realign. Strength returns. Peace returns. Clarity returns. So take this seriously, but also take it with hope, because change is still possible for you. If this message is speaking to you on a deeper level, I want you to respond honestly. Have you ever felt stuck in a cycle you couldn't explain, even when you wanted to change? Or felt spiritually heavy after certain habits, thoughts, or choices? You're not alone in that struggle. Type in the comments, "I choose freedom," if you are ready to start breaking those patterns. And if you've ever noticed any of the signs I mentioned, share it as well. Your experience might help someone else realize they are not the only one going through it. Also, don't just watch this and move on. If you want more clarity and more guidance like this, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Because what I'm going to share next could expose even deeper spiritual patterns that many people never talk about, until it's too late. And before you go, there is something I need you to understand. What we talked about in this video is only one layer of a much deeper reality. Because not all battles with lust look the same, and not all attacks feel obvious. Some show up through relationships that feel too intense too quickly. Some show up through emotional attachments you can't easily explain. And some show up in ways that slowly shape your decisions without you realizing it. In the next video, I'm going to break down the hidden patterns most people miss. The subtle traps that don't look like danger at first, but quietly pull people into cycles they struggle to escape. If this message helped you, don't ignore what comes next. You won't want to miss it. If this message opened your eyes, don't treat it like just another video. Take a moment and reflect on what you've heard. Because awareness is the first step toward change. If you found value in this, like the video and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. And share this with someone who might be silently struggling but has never spoken about it. Before you go, I want you to say this over your life. I choose awareness over blindness. I choose freedom over cycles. I choose a new direction for my life. And remember this, change doesn't always happen in a moment. Sometimes it starts with one decision. To stop repeating what has been holding you back. Now say this with conviction. Not as emotion, but as a decision. I break every cycle that has been repeating in my life. I close every door that has been opened through hidden struggles. I refuse to be controlled by what I no longer want to repeat. I step into discipline, clarity, and freedom. I will grow, I will change, I will overcome. And let this stay with you. You are not starting from zero, you are starting from awareness. And awareness is the beginning of real transformation. Walk in it. Stay consistent, and don't give up on your process.